Welcome to the Week in Italian Startup, where we discuss the latest highlights happening in the Italian tech and investment ecosystem. Alright, big news of last week, probably the biggest one, is Young Platform, crypto exchange raising about 16 million euros in a round led by Azimut, Banca Sella, United Ventures in particular. So, Young Platform has been around actually for a few years. The founders have been working on crypto since it was not really suspicious, so unsuspicious times, and they've been doing really well. This is the third raise they're closing, so they had like 2 seed round. This is the biggest one, and definitely well timed since all the collapse of the crypto space of last week. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder whether the round was priced before or after the collapse. I'm afraid before, and for sure the change in valuation on the markets will have some impact on the revenue model of the platform, because they all more or less take a fee on the volume. So in the short term there might be some cloudy weather ahead, but still I think the Young Platform is a very good product, very well positioned. Actually, it's curious because they're aimed at younger users who are well educated about finance, crypto, and stuff like that. So they take this very basic approach in trying to teach before trading.
Yeah,
and I kind of like it, also because in the broader sense, teaching younger people, particularly younger Italians that are I believe undereducated in economics, it's great. So very good for them. And the second interesting bit is the round was led by Azimuth, in particular by the crypto fund launched by Azimuth, and headquartered in Singapore.
So that's exactly where I wanted to go. Exactly where you mentioned. So,
I know it.
You know me already. Exactly. So very interesting dynamic actually. So actually, Azimuth is using 3 different vehicles to invest. Surprisingly enough. So
they're throwing everything they have.
Exactly, they did. They really did. So this is the general spectrum of what they're offering in terms of products. So Azimuth has about 86 billion with a B under management in very, very different sectors, including public equities, real estate, a ton of different strategies, and different kind of products. Under the venture capital sort of label, they have about these 5 products, which are LTIF generally, or SPAs. So they're investing essentially in Young Platform through number 1, the digital asset opportunity, which is exactly the one you mentioned. And it's interesting because this was completely done with the idea of investing into blockchain or blockchain related technology, together with 2 great groups that are already active in the space: Signum Bank, in particular, Singapore-based Signum Bank, and SBI Group, which is a Japanese conglomerate essentially, which is also investing in blockchain. So they really liked the angle of involving partners in dealing with specific investments. So I thought it was very interesting. And
if I may, Jack, sorry for interrupting you, but the other thing that I find amusing about this fund is the name, Digital Assets Opportunities, DAO.
Yeah. We talked about
decentralized autonomous organization. So basically, I want to know whoever came up with the name, because it's genius.
Exactly. So yeah, I thought it was interesting, and that's the first vehicle they're using. The second vehicle they're using is the Digitech fund, which is the one in conjunction with Jellyfy. I think this is older. This is an older fund, the Digitech fund. It's been investing all around. Jellyfy is going to provide support. Basically, the target fund is 65 million euro. I don't know where they are right now in terms of raise, but they've been placing investments all across the last 3 to 4 years, I would say, through this vehicle. Maybe less.
Probably a bit less, but
Maybe a bit less. Maybe a bit.
Couple of years probably.
Couple of years, yeah. So again, a great partner, Jellyfy, which is investor / accelerator / advisor to corporates. Very, very famous in Italy. Very active, actually. That's also very interesting. So the third one that is not completely evident is the SPV that they did specifically for young platform, which I'm trying to retrieve the name, which is Azimut Direct Investment Young Platform SCSP, which is it's basically the equivalent of an SPV for Luxembourg. It's called Special Limited Partnership. And it's very interesting because it's extremely quick to set up, relatively cheap if you raise funds less than 100 million under management, unregulated. And what is interesting is that you also get ISIN number, ISIN. So actually it's a coded security that people can pretty much purchase on different allocation platforms. So that's particularly interesting. The structure is the classic sort of US GP, LP and partnership structure. So it's the triumvirate in a way, where there is the company, the GP company with the GPs, of course, the LPs on the other side, and then the partnership where actually is the core of the assets and through which all the investment are made. So the guess, which probably is the way they've been doing, is that they created an SPV for their high net worth clients, which they've been using actually to co-invest alongside two different funds. So yeah, they definitely threw everything they had toward this investment.
Fascinating.
Yeah, Banca Sella also is strategic. While I was reading that, I was thinking of the 1 million subscriber to young platform that are potentially, the future customer of any bank, pretty much. So Banca Sella is really placing a very strategic bet. I think United is following on this round.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Interesting. Right. Moving on, let's talk about green tech startup Naturbeads, raising 1.5 million, also one of the big round of last week. I thought it was very interesting. Well, first of all, because of the product. Okay, they produce biodegradable cellulose microparticles, which I guess they're used in a bunch of different medical application, right?
I've got no idea.
Okay.
But they think so.
Yeah.
So these are my field of expertise. There you are.
Yeah, super interesting because the investor is the Progress Tech Transfer Fund. So I thought it was very good because in Italy we often talk about tech transfer, and it's a very there are a few companies actually working on this kind of project. This basically the investment is gonna finance all the development. So it's a pre-revenue company. It's basically something that comes out of universities, and that's where these guys are working. So the Progress Tech Transfer fund is basically allocating in a very, very, very early stage of a project.
Yep. Well, the investment thesis is in the name, tech transfer. So they really invest at the very beginning to sustain the final phase of research and development, probably. So the higher, mid to higher level of the technology readiness level, probably 4 to 6. And they are one of the funds that we talk about them that raise capital from the EDIGard Fund of Funds program.
Interesting. Yeah.
They're one of the 4.
Yeah.
I believe.
Awesome. All right, moving on, talking about YAG. So Italian Angel for Growth, it's one of the famous Italian angel club, basically active in Italy. They've been investing. They've been participating in a £4 million round raised by Swoop, which is a fintech based in the UK. So this is a good case because Italian investors are really not only placing bets in Italy, they're also very active abroad. Club degli Investitori has been investing abroad for years. YAG has been investing abroad for a year. Other angel groups have been also investing abroad. So that's I think it's valuable because we not only look at Italian founders, but also Italian investors kind of having this broader picture. So I thought it was a good news.
Yeah, it doesn't happen that often, but still, since I believe that in YAG in particular, probably also in Italy investitori, deal sourcing comes from all the angels in the club. So maybe there are some associates that are, you know, have links or working abroad in the UK.
Yeah.
So they're bringing deals home. So it happened that YAG participated in this round. But good to know. I mean, we are expanding our footprint.
Totally. Good network also. Like angels have a very, very good network all across different countries. So that's why not leverage that for sure. Interesting. All right, let's talk about Wopta that you mentioned. So Wopta essentially is an insuretech company announcing a pre-seed of 3 million euro from Business Angel. That's a pretty big pre-seed round, I would say. What is your take on this? It's mostly financed by Angel. It's it's substantial. It's at least noteworthy. Yeah, we need to mention that.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I mean, every now and then labels elude me, so I don't know what pre-seed means or seed means. I don't know because they are launching it on the market. So is that the pre-seed? I don't know. I have no idea. Or almost launching it on the market. But still, the round is sizable. It seems that since the founders come from the right corporate career,
Exactly.
This is really a friends and family round where they reach out to the network and giving the names in play: AXA, Zurich, Accenture, BNP Paribas. So they're all the big names, and probably it's feasible to get to 3 million. So it makes sense. And the positioning of Wopta, if I'm not wrong, is on the small businesses. So the target is small office, home office, so single entrepreneurs, professionals. So they have a very specific market positioning to this. I wouldn't call it niche, but it's probably quite a sizable market in Italy. There are quite a few million people who are solopreneurs, solo worker professionals. So it's quite a sizable market. It's something that usually you don't see easily. Well,
yeah, and it's good because it's a simplification play. So instead of going through the whole process of getting insurance in a different way, through a traditional way, this is like streamline the process. Especially solopreneurs really don't have much time, so to speak, to waste on operation and admin. So it's a very, very good solution for sure.
Yeah, and spending hours at the phone with the salesman from the insurance.
Yeah. So
I'm saying because it happened to me the other day.
Okay, there you go.
Hello. Do you have half an hour? I want to talk to you about a new product. Can you send me something by email? Just I can get the read. No, it's too complex. I need half an hour. If it's too complex, I will not understand it. So
totally. And you don't have the focus. You cannot spend half an hour of focus on a product.
No way.
I agree.
No way.
100%. So talking about simplification, let's talk about Soldo actually on the same note. Offering essentially like a free package for startup founders, which I thought it was very awesome. So Soldo has been around for a decent amount of time. They've been like fairly successful, and they provide like quick financing to businesses of different sorts. So being it loans, being it like equity from maybe like investors. So it's a nice solution that they try to integrate also with a cash management platform. So it's a lot of things. And that's definitely beneficial for again small business owner, like solopreneurs, people that they need things done quickly without really like spending too much time in the paperwork. That's the idea.
Yep. See, they started out with this rechargeable credit card or debit card that you could distribute to your people, so you can take control of how expenses are run and managed for the company, and expanded, as you said, with other products. They're based in the UK, even though the founders are Italian, and I think it's a very, very interesting move. this one to offer for free the solution to Italian startups. It's nice, give back to the country, but of course it's also a great media play and marketing stunt. So Walandri is very good, that's for sure.
Beneficial. It's a win-win. It's a win-win. That's good. Awesome. All right, let's talk about Medix actually. So Medix is a startup doing essentially providing 3D modeling for surgery. So the idea is that given certain operations, surgeon needs to practice on 3D models, or that's basically to increase like the accuracy of the operation. They provide like high accurate, high definition 3D models on which surgeons can really operate and train for the operations. I thought it was particularly interesting, and again, pretty fairly big round, 2 million euro raising from Equiter SpA, and plus 1 million euro in debt. So here we have a combination of debt and equity, which is particularly advantageous probably for the nature of business, I would say. It's a Turing originated startup, and I think it was from the I3P, the Politecnico incubator. So that's a very good success case actually for the incubation space in Italy. Again, we have a lot of situation like that where university launch their own startup. It's tough. I don't think the success rate is one of the highest, unfortunately. But yeah, these guys are doing an amazing job for sure, and they probably found a very interesting niche on the surgical space.
Yeah, I agree. I have to say I agree with you. The I3P is a very good institution. They've got a lot of startups incubated or post incubation, and quite a few interesting cases actually. And of course, again, Medix is not in one of my verticals, but what I do see is that surgery is being slowly digitalized and automated away. So I can see these are first take the simulation of the operation, and then you learn how to perform in the simulation as a machine, and then you automate the reality. So there is a trend there.
Yeah.
And we are seeing the beginning of the end of surgery as we know it.
That's
sure.
Is it good or bad
15
news?
years.
Is it good or bad news? I don't know.
I don't know. It depends on many things. I don't know. It's a precision. It's a patience type of work. It's a precision.
That's a good point.
Based type of work.
So the surgeon of the future is really like an engineer at that point.
Yes, it is closer to an engineer. It's probably
interesting
and very machine enhanced in a sense.
Yeah.
Right now the surgeon is driving the machine, but slowly it will be the other way around. So the machine will do the work, and the surgeon will, try to probably work on exceptions. So when things are not going as planned, as slowly, there will be I don't know. I'm no expert, absolutely.
No, but it makes sense. It makes sense because imagine how many routinely performed operation people sort of attend every day in every single hospital. So specialists are the one that actually will have an edge for sure. But yeah, I agree completely. Like we've seen like augmented reality like tools being immediately implemented in surgery. Educational tool like this one, which just basically improves the chance of performing like a perfect operation. So that's definitely super interesting. I've also seen like people building 3D models to actually responsive 3D model, so that medicine students can actually practice to recognize symptoms and do a diagnosis and play with the model. So that's I thought it was very powerful actually. Very, very powerful.
Yeah, we're at the beginning of some interesting cycle. We should invite someone from from the medical sector about the future of medicine.
Yeah, that's
probably this area of medicine. I mean, emergency medicine. This
like
stuff.
augmented medicine. Yeah. Awesome. All right, moving on. 360 Capital, moving into the seed space. That's interesting. So 360 Capital, one of the, probably together with Primo Venture, is one of the oldest VCs in Italy, and 360 is also active in Spain, and I think in Spain, right? Spain and France, maybe.
France.
Sorry, yeah, exactly, France in particular. And they've been working mostly on Series A's and B's. Now they're kind of going back a little bit to seed, but again, this is just a loose definition, as you say. Number change every year. We don't. I mean, it's always like a moving target. But the idea is that they want to enter earlier than what they've been doing. So they launched basically their which number of fund is it? I don't know.
40 number of fund. I don't know. Yeah, they launched quite a few.
They launched quite a few across the years, and they announced basically a raise of about 45 million. So the size of the fund is going to be 45 million euro. And yeah, very open to Western Europe, not only France or Italy, but really intervening in other geographies as well. So I thought it was particularly interesting.
According to Crunchbase, this is the 8th. Fund number 8.
Number 8.
Yeah, and the first one was from more than 20 years ago.
20 years ago, wow, man.
20 years ago, yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
So it's an old vintage. I hope it's closed already or something.
Well, yes, the initial ones, yeah, they closed quite a few, I would say.
Yeah.
They probably have, I would say, 3 to 4 active. If Crunchbase is complete in terms of information. And the last 3 were actually quite seed from the numbers. So 38 million, then 38 million, then 48 million, then 45 million, the last.
So that gives them about 100 and something million euro under management, more or less, I would say.
Yep. But then we have another one from vintage 2014 and another one vintage 2012. It's probably closing down right now. So
interesting.
It's not a huge size in terms of fund, but it's nice that they are targeting the entire Europe.
Yeah.
With some vertical interest in deep tech and B2B SaaS.
But 45 though, it's kind of enough for the seed space in a way to place a little bit of bets. Maybe they're planning to do smaller checks. So that can be one possible way to handle a fund, which I agree, it's not huge, but maybe that's strategically thought that way.
I don't know. That will be interesting. If you think about it, in the announcement, if I'm not wrong, they tell about pre-seed and seed up to 2 million.
Okay.
In a 45 million fund, if they don't raise any more, you would probably have about 38, 39 million you can invest, 36, 39, in that range. Means that if you put down 1 million on average, you probably can do, it depends on the reserves, but you don't have much space for reserve. Usually it's 50-50, so probably means 15 to 20 investments, and the rest, and the first half and the other half is reserves.
Interesting.
15 to 20 is the traditional number for a seed or a stage fund. So probably awesome. It's really by the book.
All right. On the closing note, let's talk about our friends, the CDP Venture Capital, SGR, launching another accelerator for Habitech. Essentially, it's called the Habitech, and it's for essentially PropTech. It's PropTech fund. I thought it was interesting because a lot of corporate partners here, which maybe you don't see much in other accelerator. So this one has like a big players like Ariston, Koima. There are a few actually. So Digital Magics is always like in the background, sort of helping out. But yeah, there is like industrial group which are actually planning to probably like support or at least have a look. Gabetti, for example, Illimity Bank, Planet Smart City. So there are a few.
I was taking a look at Koima because I didn't know about them. It's a real estate investment platform, basically. They have 9.3 billion asset under management. I don't know what stabilized asset under management means, but real estate is not my bread and butter. What number of accelerator are we?
Yeah, we keep the count. You keep the count of the funding. I keep the count of the CDP accelerator. Give me 1 second.
10,
I think it's 13. I think it's
13.
I think so. Let me check it out. But okay, let's see. Let's update our count of acceleration.
Did you have PropTech on your accelerator bingo card?
I think so. I think we had PropTech. Yeah, insuretech and PropTech. They're there. 1. 14.
14.
Wow. Yeah. The one before was about health and basically healthcare in general. The one before was aerospace and the silver tech. Yeah, and now it's PropTech. So that's there you go. You have some real estate in the mix as well.
Okay.
What's next?
Yeah, I was wondering the same. I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, come on, verticals are gonna run out at some point. So you guys stop, please.
Please.
All right. One last mention that I thought it was very good. It was the collaboration with Telepaths in Generali, trying to sort of reinvent the way mobility is gonna work. So essentially, the news is that there is this teaming up of Generali with Telepaths, launching a connected car device, which is offering like a bunch of different services, not only about like a toll payment, but also parking. You can pay fuel, you can use the app, Telepaths app, to do a lot of things. And I thought it was very interesting because it's kind of a concentration of automotive services for the mobility of the future. So you have the device, and then you can, no matter which car you drive, it's kind of it's a car of the future. So that's I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's what I posted it because it's something that you usually would see something like that from a startup, and actually this is coming up from the entrepreneurial arm of the Generali and Telepaths, putting them together, the ideas, and putting ideas together and launching this brainchild of their two different business models. That's very interesting.
Exactly. All right, last comment on Sequoia, the Sequoia presentation. After the Y Combinator letter, Sequoia also is like giving interesting heads up to their portfolio about you guys, chill out, let's control the cost, let's make sure everything is in place. What's your comment on that?
Yeah, well, it seems that all American VCs have been, running one above the other in order to tell the world that, things are changing. Now you need to switch to default live rather than invest like crazy in growth. And I've been following Twitter conversations that were incredible. I mean, like people saying that, my investor asked me to hire like 200 people more than we needed, just because, if you have a lot of people, you are showing growth.
Yeah.
Now, if that's true, and I don't know whether that's true, probably it's false, but still. Now I understand why, the first thing the later stage company, the first thing they are all doing is basically laying people off. Because as the music is playing, okay, you can cover the fact that you have more people than you need. But if the music stops, things slow down. But having said that, I don't have a strong opinion. I mean, I'm not surprised that, you know, as public markets go down, then, you know, late stage deals slow down because public markets go down, because basically there are the same investors there. And it's, you know, if you're seeing your exit in 3 years becoming more difficult, you know, tend to take slower decisions. And things will probably trickle down to early stages.
With a certain lag.
With fewer effects.
Yeah.
I mean, seed rounds will still be seed rounds and will not become, you know, 1/10 of seed rounds. Maybe you will not see the crazy numbers, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure that the top 10% of the best startups out there, the top 10% will still close deals, and they will have still pretty crowded deals with investors trying to, you know, to find space in these deals. The bottom 10%, they will freeze completely.
There is a positive side to that, which is tough love, but it's important, which is it's a little bit of a purge of the sector with a reevaluation of, as you say, the bottom. So the hype actually it can become under control instead of throwing capital because the next NFT project is popular. Now investors are way more cautious, and that's good. That's a good sign actually. So I agree with you. All the market downturn is gonna definitely like trickle down on slowly, so on a different degree, not as powerfully as in the public market or in the IPO sector. So we'll see something happening, but I agree. Top 10%, even more, maybe top 20 will still hold simply because, I mean, they're solid businesses, and second, investor, they want to allocate capital on promising projects.
Yeah, exactly, because there is this other aspect of the problem. I mean, I was looking at the numbers last year. The American investor raised like $130 billion. So there are $130 billion under management raised just in 2021.
Imagine.
What's going to happen to that money? So it's not disappearing in the cloud of smoke.
Yeah.
They're going to deploy it eventually, unless they're giving back to the LPs saying, "I'm sorry, I was kidding. I'm not going to invest that capital."
Which is highly unlikely.
Highly unlikely. So probably a lot.
They're gonna find something.
Yes. So you can slow down for like 6 months, 1 year, but then that capital is there to be invested. So I don't know what's going to happen. So this is something that we need to keep in mind.
Yeah.
So I expect some bounces.
Yeah. Great point. Nick, thank you so much. It was a great session, super interesting as always. So this is the Week in Italian Startup. We're available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, all your favorite podcasting and video platforms. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.